Nina Dharma's New Year post didn't just spark a reaction. It sets the MMA world on fire. Dubbed as the MMA Personality of the Year in a wave of sarcastic backlash, her bold bikini clip has ignited fierce debates about attention-seeking, representation, and the sport's integrity. Let's uncover the chaos that's gripping 2025. Nina Dharma, a name synonymous with MMA Twitter, has always had a knack for stirring up conversations, but her latest stunts seem to have pushed the envelope further than ever. Known for her outspoken and flamboyant online persona, Nina often blends her coverage of MMA with bold personal content. However, this time, her New Year post, a video clip of her in a bikini with the cheeky caption, "My New Year resolution is to make MMA Twitter mad with all my bikini content, LOL," has created a storm. The caption itself, daring and taunting, seemed to challenge her audience, and the reaction that followed showed just how much that challenge resonated with the MMA community. The timing couldn't have been more significant, as the MMA community was gearing up for an exciting new year filled with fresh rivalries and fight announcements. Instead of uniting fans around the sport, Nina's post ignited heated debates, pulling attention away from the octagon and towards her online antics. What started as a seemingly playful gesture quickly escalated into a battleground of opinions, with critics and supporters clashing over what her content represents. The provocative nature of her post, paired with the audacious caption, seemed almost calculated to provoke, and provoke it did, sparking discussions that spread like wildfire. This wasn't just another social media post, it became the moment that dominated conversations in the MMA world as 2025 began. Fans and followers didn't take it lightly, with many questioning her intentions. Some argued that her boldness bordered on provocation, especially considering the timing. After all, the New Year is traditionally a moment for unity and celebration in the MMA world, a time when fans focus on upcoming fights, unexpected rivalries, and dramatic returns to the octagon. Instead, Nina's post shifted the conversation away from the sport and towards her personal brand, sparking debates that felt less about MMA and more about her role within this ecosystem. Criticism hit social media like a tidal wave, with fans wasting no time in making their opinions known. One sarcastically crowned her MMA Personality of the Year, a jab dripping with disdain as they mocked what they saw as her misplaced priorities. Others went straight for the jugular, accusing her of attention-seeking and questioning how someone like Nina consistently dominates the spotlight in a space meant for fighters and the sport itself. "How are you already this attention deprived so early in the year?" one scathing comment read, echoing the collective frustration. Another critic didn't hold back, saying, "She's pushing 40 doing this, the worst industry plant of all time." This comment, brutal as they were, highlighted a much bigger issue, a growing tension about how personalities like Nina are changing the conversation around MMA. It wasn't just about her content anymore, it was about what her content said about the evolving nature of the community. As the debates raged on, it became clearer this wasn't just another fleeting social media moment. It was a flashpoint for the larger cultural divide within MMA itself. The reactions weren't just limited to critique of her posts, but quickly spiraled into personal attacks that exposed the underbelly of toxicity in the community. Some mocked her appearance with comments like, "She's not even attractive enough at this to be her whole focus," while others questioned her place in the MMA world entirely. Why do we keep seeing her shoved into conversations that should be about actual fighters, reflecting a sentiment that was growing louder by the hour? The harshness of these responses highlighted just how polarizing Nina Dharma had become. Either loved or hated, there seemed to be no middle ground. What made it even more striking was how many people were eager to weigh in, turning her bikini clip into the centerpiece of a conversation that overshadowed everything else happening in the MMA world. As the backlash intensified, so did the questions about whether Nina's antics were a symptom of the changing landscape of MMA or if they were pushing it in a direction some fans weren't ready to accept. It wasn't just about a video anymore, it was about the fight for what this sport and its culture represented. What's particularly striking about the backlash is how personal it became. Some fans just didn't criticize the post but launched attacks on Nina herself. Comments like, "The fact that she isn't even attractive makes it worse," and "she's just riding on the same fan base," reveal a troubling undercurrent in how certain figures within the MMA space are treated. It's one thing to critique the content, it's another to dismantle the person behind it. Such remarks have reignited discussions about the inherent basis and double standards in the community. Why does a figure like Nina provoke such visceral reactions, and does the MMA community hold female personalities to a different standard? Adding fuel to the fire is the argument that Nina's audience include younger fans. Critics claim that her provocative content doesn't align with the values the sport should uphold. It's posts like this that make it harder for female fans in the community. One person wrote, suggesting that such actions reinforce harmful stereotypes. Others accused of engaging in engagement bait, intentionally creating content designed to provoke reactions rather than contributing meaningfully to MMA discourse. But is this truly a fair assessment, or are these comments a reflection of the evolving dynamics of social media itself? While critics took aim, many fans stood firmly in Nina's corner, defending her right to post whatever she wants. Supporters argued that social media thrives on personality, and Nina's bold, unapologetic approach sets her apart in a male-dominated space. She's unapologetically herself, and that's refreshing, one fan noted, while the other added, "The MMA community can be so uptight. Let her have some fun." To her supporters, Nina is a disruptor injecting flair and individuality into a sometimes overly serious sport. But to her detractors, she's a distraction from MMA's true essence. This clash highlights a larger debate. How much space does MMA leave for diverse personalities and voices that don't follow tradition? But here's where things get even more complicated. For all the criticism aimed at Nina, it's undeniable that the outrage itself amplifies her influence. One fan observed, "I wouldn't even hear about her if it weren't for people complaining on my timeline." This paradox, where critics inadvertently keep Nina in the spotlight, shows how polarizing figures can thrive in the age of social media. Even those who claim to detest her content play a role in ensuring its visibility. Is the real issue here Nina's approach, or is it the cycle of reaction and attention that keeps her relevant? Nina's defenders argue that she isn't doing anything new. Social media is, after all, a platform for self-expression, and figures across industries use it to build their brands in ways that extend beyond their primary focus. MMA isn't immune to this trend. In fact, some fans believe that Nina's antics add a layer of entertainment to a sport that thrives in drama and spectacle. She knows exactly what she's doing. One supporter commented, "This is all part of the game." If that's true, then the real question isn't whether Nina's actions are appropriate, but whether the MMA community is ready to embrace a more multifaceted approach to its personalities. But not everyone is convinced. Critics argue that there is a difference between using social media strategically and crossing the line into exploitation. Some see Nina's content as a missed opportunity to promote the sport and its athletes in a more meaningful way. The MMA world is filled with incredible stories, rivalries, and achievements, one fan added. Why focus on this kind of content when there's so much else to talk about? For these critics, Nina represents a shift away from what they can see as the core values of MMA, a shift that not everyone is ready to accept. Amid all the heated debates, one thing is for sure, Nina Dharma knows how to keep the MMA world talking. Whether you see her as a game changer challenging the norms or just a distraction from what the sport's really about, her impact can't be denied. But this isn't just about one post or one person anymore. It's opened up bigger conversations about representation, inclusivity, and how personalities shape the culture of MMA. These are issues the community will be wrestling with long after the buzz around this controversy dies down. As the dust settles, it's worth reflecting on what this controversy reveals about the MMA world. Is the community's reaction to Nina Dharma a sign of deeper issues, such as sexism and gatekeeping, or does it simply reflect the passionate and sometimes polarizing nature of MMA fandom? The answers aren't simple, but the questions are worth considering, and the sport continues to grow and evolve. What's your take? Bold move or too much drama? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let the debate rage on. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for your ringside pass to all things MMA, from fiery controversies to jaw-dropping fight recaps. Stay tuned because the action never stops here.